There we go. Welcome to Crash Course on Meditation for Stress Release and Increased Performance. I promised that this session would be interactive, so why not to start right away? Just close your eyes and notice, how are you feeling? Just on a scale 1 to 10, how's your overall well-being? Just take note, no need to judge or change anything. Then just scan or note any kind of feelings and emotions that are arising. What kind of thoughts are arising in your consciousness? Again, just noticing, being aware what's in your field. And now notice your breath. What is the quality of your breath? Is it deep or shallow? Is it slow or fast? Are you breathing into your belly or into the upper part of your chest? Just notice how you feel, or how's your breath feeling. Now let's try to control the breath. So you inhale deeply for the count of 3 only. So deep inhale, 2, 3. Hold your breath for 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for the count of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In, 2, 3. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, and continue holding breath for 9 seconds or counts, and exhale for the counts of 6. And then again, inhale for the count of 3. Just do a couple of rounds, focusing purely on your breath and how you're feeling when the air enters your lungs, when you're holding the breath, when you're exhaling. 3 seconds for inhale, 9 for hold, and 6 for exhale. After the next round, just come back to your normal breathing pattern, and with your eyes closed, just notice whether there's been a shift in your energy, in how you're feeling, whether you feel calmer, because that's what this breath work is designed to do. How are you feeling in your body? How's your connection with your physical body? When you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back to the space. So I welcome you to the crash course on breathwork. Let me share with you those couple of slides that I put together. So share screen. And it would be Beautiful. So, breathwork. We take every day 25,000 inhales and 25,000 exhales. And many of us, or basically 99% of people, do not do it consciously, and they do not do it efficiently. Efficient breath is slow, it's deep, it's smooth, it's quiet, so there's no panting, and it's relaxed and effortless. So when you breathe like this, you're breathing efficiently, meaning the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide is working like it's supposed to. But when you're breathing lacks any of those 5 qualities, then we are calling it inefficient. And probably it's a very shallow breath, which in the end causes stress, anxiety, panic attacks, chronic fatigue, irritability, and depression. So our breath is very deeply connected to how we're feeling. And when you start to notice how you're breathing, whether you're breathing into the upper part of the chest or into your belly, it's also going to influence your mood. So I invite you to notice where you are breathing throughout this presentation. So my name is Simona, and I'm a spiritual life coach and mentor, and also an instructor of Himalayan yoga and breathwork. This entire presentation is going to be spoken from the lens of my own experiences. I went through a burnout and deep psychospiritual crisis where my body was giving up on me, my digestion was definitely not working. I had almost zero cognitive abilities. I was unable to do the simplest of the tasks. And my nervous system was just so erratic. I was irritable. I would snap at the smallest things. And after I quit the job that I had, I was unable to get out of the bed. Nothing was motivating me. I didn't even know what makes me happy. So I couldn't even do it. It was a dark period of my life. And I noticed that it's repeating in my life. So I decided to address those repeating patterns once and for all, and went with a one-way ticket to Sri Lanka, later on to the Himalayas, and then even later on to Bali to pursue what I call healing journey, and then also my spiritual growth, to see who I am and to grow as a person in all my layers. I got certified in Himalayan breathwork and Kriya Yoga, which comes from tantric branch of yogic tradition. And this has deeply influenced my work, but I'm not only fascinated by the spiritual texts, not talking about esoterics and all the woo-woo things. It has its own magic as well, but I'm talking about the deep truth, about the absolute. So those are tantras. And this is something I'm fascinated from, but I'm also a geek on neuroscience. I wanted to understand how is it possible that I burnt out, that I could feel those emotions, that I was unable to perform the simplest of the tasks. So I started to educate myself on neuroscience, how the nervous system works. And then alongside did a lot of, I call it spiritual shopping. So went to plethora of workshops in the past 4 years where I learned different techniques, studied with different teachers, attended gazillion of workshops. So this is where I'm coming from. It's both the science and the spirituality and my own meditation and understanding of whatever I'm teaching. I'm usually not teaching just the theory, but something that I deeply integrated in my life and that helped me on my journey from healing the burnout and this deep identity crisis that I went through. I guess there was one slide skipped where I wanted to address like what we're going to cover today. So I will just talk briefly about it. We are going to explain the basics of breathwork, what it is, different kinds of breathwork, how you can start implementing it in your life. And I'll also talk about the yogic tradition and pranayama and kriya. What are those? Those who follow me on Instagram, I'm always talking about kriya and they're like, what the fuck is it? So we'll address those very briefly. And this time will be more practical. So I'll guide you through a couple of breathing exercises that you can take with you and practice forever in case you're feeling overwhelmed or just not yourself anymore. So why breathwork? It really helped me on my journey. And it was the first retreat I went to after I booked that one-way ticket. But then anytime, any day I did the breathwork, I felt so much better. And also my body felt better. And then I stumbled upon this quote, which is no matter what you eat, how much you exercise, how much resilient your genes are, how young or wise you are, none of it will matter unless you breathe correctly. So it's not just a quote. It's actually proven by science that the more efficient your breath is, the better you perform at any task in life, whether you're a stay-at-home mom who's dealing with the stresses of taking care of two little humans, or whether you're an entrepreneur running big business, or whether you've got a regular job, but you encounter different emotional distress in your life. So the more efficiently you breathe, the better you'll be at coping with those demands of life. And it's also going to determine the level at which you're playing in life, whether you're playing small or playing big and succeeding. And the way we behave and we perform is directly related to breath. How? So I listened or watched this amazing TED Talk, and I highly recommend watching it for everybody. It's 40 minutes long, but there's this scientist, I'm terrible with names, but there's this scientist who got also a person on stage to show empirically how is it that our breath influences the performance. But I will just sum it up here for you. So he started talking about top athletes, top performers. I think he was even talking about Tiger Woods and golfers in specific, who need to focus in order to hit the ball correctly. And how is it possible that they might train all the time, everything might be perfect, but they had this one shot and they do not really get it? Why? Well, their performance or the result of what they're doing is directly related to the behavior of the actions that they are doing. And those are the things that we all see. We all see who's doing what and how they are performing. We've got all the KPIs for that, right? But the behaviors are highly influenced by what we think that is possible or impossible in life. So your belief system, your So your thoughts influence your emotions and your behavior. I'm sorry, your thoughts influence your feelings, and your feelings influence your thoughts. And this ties directly to how you behave. If you're feeling like shit in the morning because you had a terrible dream or something, then you will have also more negative thoughts, and this will influence how you act towards others, and it will also influence the results that you're getting from life. Feelings are the interpretations of emotions. Many people don't know what is the difference between feelings and emotions. And emotions, it's energy in motion. All the electrochemical signals, all the biology that is going on within our system, the chemical reactions, the electric impulses that go through our nervous system, they are all certain data that run through the body. And the way we interpret the data is feeling. So, for example, the data can be that your palms are sweating, then your heart rate is high, you're breathing into the top part of your lungs and you're somewhat shaking. And depending on your thoughts, you're going to interpret it either as being nervous or as being excited. And this is something that people experience before they go on stage and talking publicly. So there are two emotions. There are emotions, but there are two ways to interpret them based on the thoughts that we have, whether we are excited about something or not. So naturally, emotions are influenced by physiology, by what's happening in our body. And the easiest way to influence physiology is either, that's what we were taught also in neurolinguistic programming certification, that when you want to improve your thought and improve your performance, you just put your shoulders back, open your chest, put your head up, and this is instantly going to invoke the feelings of confidence in whatever you're doing. So by changing your physiology, your posture, you can influence everything what goes above the physiology. And another easy way to influence physiology is our breath. It's linked to every single activity in our body. And when we breathe deeply, we're also stimulating the parts of our nervous system that make us feel relaxed. And when we are feeling relaxed, the thoughts are different, and hence our behavior is different. So I just went through it, definitely did not talk about it in such exciting way as this guy in a TED Talk. So the TED Talk is called How to Be Brilliant Every Single Day. And it's highly recommended, where he explains all the mechanics behind your performance. So why you're all here is to learn about breathwork. It's becoming something like a buzzword, and many people don't know what it is. So it's basically a group term for various techniques that involve the manipulation of the breath for therapeutic or spiritual purposes. How does it work? So on inhalation, air goes down your throat, and then it splits to both of your lungs. Then it goes into those tubes called bronchioles, and then because breathing is induced by diaphragm, which is a muscle on top of your let's call it the cavity in your belly. So when the muscle diaphragm goes down, there's more space for the lungs to expand, and hence there is greater access for air to reach the bronchioles. And then at the end of bronchioles, there are those tiny little, something like light bulbs called alveoli, which allow the air or the oxygen to enter the bloodstream directly. So that's how we oxygenate our body, by air getting into those tiny little light bulbs. Let's call them this. There are, like, I believe 500 million of them in our lungs, and their total surface area is 70 meters squared, which is something like a 2-bedroom apartment. And that's what's within our lungs and allows us to oxygenate our body and improve all the cognitive or biological functions in our body. So let me see. So how the breath works. On inhalation, you get the air in your lungs. It's approximately 2.5 liters of air at one time, but with one deep inhale, you can get extra 0.5 liter of air into your lungs. But the thing is that when we breathe inefficiently, only like 1/4 of this breath is circulated. So 3/4 of this volume is actually old air, which doesn't have any oxygen anymore. That's why when we breathe deeply, we allow more fresh air to enter your lungs and hence more oxygen enter your bloodstream. On proper full exhalation, again, this old air, which doesn't have any oxygen but has more carbon dioxide, gets pushed out of your body by allowing the diaphragm go up. And in yoga, we've got this practice, which is called diaphragmatic breathing. It's actually, there's no other way to breathe than with your diaphragm, but whether we allow the diaphragm to go deeper influences how much of fresh air gets into our lungs. And then there are two other parts of breath. So there's not only an inhale, but there's also internal breath retention, meaning when we stop after your inhale, then you're activating, there's more oxygen in your blood. It's getting pushed in your body, which activates your energy, increases it. There's and especially if you do this after a vigorous breathwork practice, there's so much oxygen in your lungs that your body doesn't really need to breathe. So you're holding your breath and your body is completely okay like this for even 2 minutes. But a part of your brain actually goes on high alert because it's used to noting whether you're breathing or not. And at the same time as you're stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system, I will get to it, when you're promoting this deep state of relaxation, your alarm system, internal alarm system goes online, and that allows you to be sharply focused. And the result is that you will suddenly feel way more present with what is. That's why breathwork can be also a mindfulness practice, which trains your body to stay in the present moment way more. And then you can also, when you exhale, you can hold your breath as well. Many times we do it naturally. If you start noticing your breath, you will see this pattern. So inhale, hold the breath, exhale, hold the breath. And on the external breath retention, you're immediately going into the calm state. It has a calming effect, and it's attracting, or it's accumulating more carbon dioxide in your body. And this is usually not a good thing, because the more carbon dioxide, the more acidic environment in your body, and acidic environment usually leads to inflammation, and inflammation is the root cause of all the health problems. And then we know that like physical health is influencing your mental health based on what we discussed with the TED Talk information. So usually it's not good, but the more carbon dioxide there is stored in the body, the more oxygen it attracts later on to be released, because it's, if you can imagine, something like a boat. So your hemoglobin, your blood cells actually have a certain amount of spaces. It's like a boat, and it can only embark several molecules of oxygen. And when they come to a place where it needs oxygen, they can take on as much carbon dioxide as they had the oxygen. So to stimulate this exchange of carbon dioxide and oxygen in your body, our body is so intelligent that the more carbon dioxide is stored in a certain area, the more it will attract oxygen, and hence oxygenating and detoxing our body with it. So breath retentions can be healthy as well. So this talk is called Breathwork for Stress Management and High Performance. And we wouldn't be able to perform anything if we didn't have our nervous system. So this is just a basic overview of what is our nervous system composed of. So we've got the central nervous system, which is the brain, the spinal cord and brainstem that connects those. And then we've got peripheral nervous system, which is the link to the outside world, where we gather the data and the information from our sensory inputs, and that we can also control, such as muscle movement. So the central nervous system sends a signal to the peripheral nervous system what to do. And then we've got autonomic nervous system, which regulates the involuntary bodily processes. It's called autonomic because for a long time it was believed that it is autonomous. It can be influenced. So your cells regenerate without you being conscious of it, or without you putting a signal like, hey, now regenerate. It's doing its job automatically. The same goes for breathing. You're not really, you don't need to control your breathing unless you want to. Your body is doing it naturally. Your blood circulates naturally. The muscle contract and relax. So the muscles of the internal organs. So this is all governed by autonomic nervous system, and it's split into two parts. So we've got sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system, it's this high alert. It's the fight, flight, or freeze response of our body. That's when we are feeling stressed, our sympathetic nervous system is on high alert, or it comes online. It's dysregulated. And then parasympathetic nervous system is activated when we're feeling calm. So the body has the signals that there is no danger whatsoever, and we can rest, we can regenerate our body, and we can repair whatever is there. We also feel that we want to procreate because, yeah, there's safety. But if you're in danger or a perceived danger, then your sympathetic nervous system gets activated. And here, so first I will be talking about vagus nerve. So it's a major nerve that originates in the brainstem, and then it connects all the internal organs and probably the limbs as well, which control the autonomic responses. That's the rest and digest nerve. So if somebody is overly stressed, then you can start looking up things, how to stimulate your vagus nerve. And as I mentioned, people thought that you can't do anything about your autonomous nervous system. But after Wim Hof came, then the scientists started to look into the fact that by breathing, there's the vagus nerve is also connected to your diaphragm. So when you breathe in deeply, it activates your parasympathetic nervous system, and it allows you to relax and get out of this survival mode that is stress, or when your nervous system is on high alert. Another important aspect of our biology when it comes to stress is heart rate variability. It's a measure of the variation in time between the heartbeats. So those things between the spikes whenever it goes boom, boom. So it reflects the activity of the sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system and how balanced they are. The more balanced they are, because we need both, like the stress response, we need to create some action, we need to be alert, we need to be focused on things. So it's good, but the nature also wants us to regenerate when we are under stress. So those two systems need to be balanced. And it can be measured non-invasively by simply taking measurement of our heart rate variability, and then we can read through that how well we can cope with stress. So with breath work, we change the pattern and rate of breathing and promote the activation of parasympathetic nervous system and our ability to adapt to changes and demands of our environment. So those are the main biological mechanics that you need to understand for you to know how breath work can influence your emotional and mental state. So we don't act in accordance to what we know. We act in accordance to the baseline level of stress in your nervous system. And the body is the perfect accountant. So if you are in a stressed situation, or in a situation where your body goes into this overdrive, and it's either doing the constant action because the nervous system is aroused and you want to get something done, then if you don't decompress or don't allow your body to have enough rest, then there's the stress and all the chemicals of cortisol and adrenaline that are released under a stressful situation when the parasympathetic nervous system is activated. They get stored in your body. And the issue is in the tissue. So the more stress you experience in life and the less you decompress, or the less your parasympathetic nervous system is activated, the more backlog of stress you have in your body. And this then leads to all the diseases and physical problems that you might get. I certainly had it after I burnt out, and it was basically, I was constantly in, like, my sympathetic nervous system was constantly activated, and I was not regenerating my body. I was drinking a lot of alcohol. I was doing a lot of drugs. I was not sleeping properly because I would travel all around the world across different time zones, or I would be at business trips where we had to drink till the morning and then go to business meetings, and there was no time to sleep. Or when I finally had the time to sleep, I could not because I was anxious and I had panic attacks in the mornings. So it was just a result of too much of accumulated stress in my body. So what did the stress cost me? There was actually a lot of things that I did that put my body in greater stress. I thought that by going out and drinking and partying, I'm going to decompress, but every shot of alcohol, every drug I took, it was an extra stress for my body. So I was again not regenerating. And in the end, it cost me a lot of my sanity and also money. Because if you put together how much you're spending on alcohol to decompress when you get out of the work and you're just tired, or you just want to forget the day, just get a glass of wine or two or three, and then there's the entire bottle, and suddenly it becomes every day. Or you need to smoke to get out of the office, recreational drugs, therapy, shopping impulsively to have a sense of release and calm and feeling of safety so you can relax. Or weekend escapes. In my case, it was my go-to coping mechanism for chronic stress. The shame, guilt, emotions, and everything related to one-night stands and superficial relationships that just took the energy away. The medication, missed appointments because you just did not remember to get there, lost job opportunities because you could not think straight, because when your body is on high alert, your brain is basically shutting down. And when you're chased by a tiger, then you don't need to do any mathematical calculation, right? So your body is responding to stress in a way that it shuts your brain off. So you're not really thinking, you're not really memorizing things, you just care about survival and getting out of danger. Your digestion shuts down because who cares about the apple that you ate when you need to run right now? Your immunity system is completely shut down, because why would the body care about cancer if you're not going to be alive in 5 seconds if you don't run away from the tiger, right? So all those things add up, and your body is not functioning properly, and then your brain is not functioning properly, and then you might lose on different job or business opportunities because your body is just not cooperating with your goals and dreams. And how many times have you gotten sick as a result of stress? So this is something to consider when you're thinking, is breathwork worth it? Is it breathwork and meditation? Should I even try? Should I bother? Well, you need to release the backlog of stress, because all those things that I just listed, those are extra stress for your body, and it's adding to whatever stress there is. And in meditation and through breathwork, you're actually releasing the stored stress from your body, all the cortisol or the inflammation. So yeah, if you start doing breath work, it's any conscious practice of breath, even if it's 5 minutes a day. Don't tell me that you don't have 5 minutes a day. You set the timer and you consciously breathe. Those techniques that I will share with you in a couple of minutes. So with breath work, you can get more done. You can instantly feel more relaxed. You can become healthier. You can even lose weight. You can release stored stress, trauma, and toxins from your body. You'll have way more energy to deal with adversity of life and with all the demands that are coming up, because you will have this space literally to breathe before, when the trigger comes, there will be space between you and the trigger. You can also prolong your life. So there's been this 70-year-long study of more than 5,000 participants, and they actually determined what's that one thing that determines longevity in people. It's not diet, it's not exercise. The common theme was the capacity of lungs. So the more efficient, or like the greater capacity of lungs you have, the greater predictor of your longevity it is. And this is something that can be trained with breathwork, and this is actually the point, to train your muscles to breathe efficiently and to increase your lung capacity. And you can become smarter and more resilient by activating your parasympathetic nervous system. So you can also, with breathwork, reduce your blood pressure, because when you're not in this high stress situation, then your heart rate slows down and your blood pressure goes down, your cortisol and adrenaline levels go down, and your body becomes more relaxed. So you'll feel calm and you will feel connected to the environment and to yourself. You will be, when you get to a certain point in breathwork, usually whoever did even just like 15 or 20 minutes practice with me, they enter this feeling of bliss. And that feeling of bliss actually allows your stored stress to get out of the system. So there's been also one research that proved, there needs to be still more human studies on this, but when an individual is breathing deeply, then the amygdala, the region of our brain which is responsible for this fight or flight response, for sending signals to our nervous system that, hey, you're in danger, get all your energy into your limbs, out of your brain, out of your immune system, out of your digestion. We are saving our ass right now. So amygdala sends this signal, and the more in fear or in survival you're living, the stronger this region of the brain, the amygdala, gets. But when you're breathing consciously, you're also taking away energy from amygdala region of your brain, and then it shrinks eventually. So when you are used to breathing calmly and deeply, then when a certain stressful situation comes, then your amygdala is active for a shorter time. So especially in rodents, it was proven that this freeze reaction, when there was some like sound or something, they froze. But if they were breathing slowly before, they froze for way shorter period of time than they would if they were breathing rapidly. So this is the same with humans. The more efficient your breath is, the more control you have over your body's reaction of stressful situation. Breathwork also clears your biomemory and muscle memory. So the cortisol, adrenaline, they're acidic in nature, and they get stored in your body, creating, again, more inflammation-prone environment. But when you enter a meditative state through breathwork or through meditation itself, then your serotonin and dopamine, the bliss or happiness molecules, get released, and those are alkaline in nature. So they remove the acidity from your life, from your body, and they also allow your body to exchange the stored chemical imprints of the trauma from your body to and through your breath way. So by doing this, you're also healthier, because you're removing inflammation, you're alkalizing the blood, and you're also improving your vitamin and mineral absorption. With breathwork, especially conscious breathwork, you're activating the front part of your brain called prefrontal cortex, and this is the decision-making part of the brain. It's the director. And with breathwork and stimulating more energy into the prefrontal cortex, you're actually improving your cognitive abilities, and hence you become smarter. And for me personally, because when I was just drained and depressed and didn't have energy for anything, that's what I craved. I just wanted to have more energy. And through breath work, I taught my body to enter a different source of energy for my life. So there are two kinds of energy sources. We've got aerobic source energy, so it's the oxygen. And that's the primary source that the body is designed to get the energy from. So the system for gaining energy from breathing or from oxygen is 16 times more efficient than getting energy from anaerobic source of energy, which is food. Food gets broken down into glucose, so that's what the body considers being energy, and it's super fast to access, but this is only a backup system. But in the current times, we learned that we taught our bodies that we're going to eat some food and that's how we're going to get energy. But digestion takes the most energy from our system. So if you've got 100% battery, then yeah, your brain takes 20-25% of it just to live. So your nervous system is highly energy demanding. And then when you eat, then way more energy goes, instead of maintaining your bodily functions, it goes into digesting the food. And that's why learning how to source energy from oxygen is fundamental for increasing your energy levels. And with more energy, you can perform better, you can think clearer, you can do more things that make you joyful and happy. And you will know what those things are because you're present, you're aware, you have more feedback from your body. What's happening? There's the vagus nerve. It's all the inputs from your body, like, okay, you are safe. Let's do all those regenerative processes in our body and we're cool. So those inputs are directed from our body through vagus nerve into our brain, and the brain can just do its job of thinking and being creative and being fascinated by all the sensory inputs that are around us. So, as I mentioned, the body takes energy from oxygen. That's why, like, maybe you saw there are many people who have the oxygen meter on their fingers or in Oura Ring, whatever it is. And our bodies are used to having high oxygenation level, but when the blood oxygen goes below 90%, the blood doesn't carry enough of it to support body tissues, to regenerate, to help us heal all those things that happen as a result of stressful situations. So if this goes for too long, being in low oxygenation level, then it can lead to heart failures, to memory problems, to depression. And now looking back, I believe that it was a part of my burnout because I spent so much time in the offices, in closed spaces with not enough ventilation, and hence I did not have access to oxygen. And surprise, surprise, I was depressed. I was not thinking clearly. So make sure you get enough oxygen by opening your windows very often. And that's also going to increase your energy level and your cognitive abilities. So we already established that mood influences breathing and vice versa. If you want to feel better, calmer, more or happier, more relaxed, then we can do it by taking a couple of deep breaths. But actually, there's difference whether you're breathing through mouth or through the nose. I highly recommend, where do I have it? So there's this amazing book by James Nestor. It's called Breath. This is just the Slovak version, but it's bright yellow. Highly recommend it. It's an entire book on breathing, which explains the mechanics and what happens in our body when we breathe, and what are the consequences of inefficient breathing patterns. And he also did experiment on himself, the author, to breathe first only through the mouth and then only through the nose. We know that breathing by mouth, it activates your sympathetic nervous system. So this high alert, fearful response, or it's like when we're in high stress, when we need to be focused, it's perfect when you breathe a couple of times through mouth. You will feel more alert. And this is perfect if you are before giving certain presentation, because you'll be on spot, you'll be extremely present. But it also drains your energy, and mice who were breathing only through mouth had less brain cells than those who were breathing with the nose. That's why they didn't want to do any kind of research on humans, but the author was nice enough to volunteer, and for a week or two he was breathing only through the mouth, and he would feel way more fatigued. All his markers of health went entirely downhill, and breathing through the mouth as a default is extremely inefficient. Then we've got nasal breathing, which is more efficient because our nose is both filtering the air and all the toxins that might be in the atmosphere. It moistens and warms and pressurizes the breath, so it goes into our lungs the way it's supposed to go. And it boosts nitric oxide, which is the molecule responsible for circulating oxygen in our blood. So the more we have it, the better oxygenation of our body there is. It also improves our mood, and immune and sexual functions are on point when we've got proper level of nitric oxide, and this is being triggered by nasal breathing only. So there's also a hack, and I just invite you to do a little experiment with me. So just close your eyes and notice through which nostril there's more air flowing in. Is it the right or the left nostril? And there's always going to be one dominant nostril. So that's our body's way of balancing the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. We need both to function. And there's going to be I think it's 45 or an hour time period when you're breathing dominantly through the right nostril, and then you're breathing dominantly through the left nostril. Right nostril, so it's like a gas pedal. It activates the sympathetic nervous system. It increases your circulation. Your cortisol, the stress hormone, goes up. Your heart rate goes up. You feel more alert, and you stimulate the left prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain which is responsible for decision making. So in case you are at work and you need to do certain important decision, block your left nostril and take a couple of breaths through the right. The opposite is true for the left nostril. It's the brake system. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system. It cools the body. It releases anxiety, and it induces pleasant feelings and emotions that also stimulate creative thoughts. And there's plenty of exercises, especially in the yogic tradition, which balance the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, or balance the left and right hemispheres by breathing equally through both nostrils, one at a time. So the nasal cycle that we have, it basically it drives the balance between the action and the relaxation. There's this practice that I do before doing any kind of meditation, or even now before this presentation. It's very simple. So I just put the fingers on my third eye, which is the space in between my eyebrows. In the yogic tradition, we say that it stimulates your Agya chakra, the energy center for perception. But neuroscientists have different explanation. By doing this, you're actually putting more emphasis or attention on this area of your brain, which cannot have any sensory stimulation, meaning like it's like 1 inch behind your forehead. That's a part of your brain. And by putting your fingers here, you're focusing on a part of your brain where you have no sensory stimulation. Hence, you can sense more of what's happening inside of your body. That's the scientific explanation of why we're doing it. But this breathing pattern is, I'm going to be breathing rapidly, inhaling only through the left nostril and exhaling only through the right nostril by pressing my belly in, hence working with my diaphragm for more efficient breathing and more oxygenation of my body. So I would do it just like this. And then I would switch and I would inhale through the right and exhale through the left. So I would do this for 1 minute each nostril, and it's perfect for refocusing and tapping both into my decision-making abilities and my creative abilities. In yoga, we also have so-called yogic breath. It's supposed to be it's the mother of all breath work, making sure that you're breathing optimally and efficiently. We are taught this by doing sectional breathing. So there are something like 3 kinds of breathing that we can do. Diaphragmatic is that muscle in your cavity, in your belly cavity, right underneath your rib cage. And despite all breath is diaphragmatic, but when you stick the belly out by breathing in, that's when you know that the diaphragm is being pulled down. So it's the abdominal breath, and it's great for relaxation. It calms the mind down, and it's perfect to do before sleep. And it's also massaging the internal organs. So you can do it with me. Just place a hand on your belly and breathe in deeply by trying to press your hand as far up front as possible by pushing your belly out. So doing a couple of deep breaths into your belly is going to induce feelings of calm. And if you can't fall asleep, this is definitely a way to do it. And it's perfect to practice to increase the capacity of your lungs. Then you've got thoracic breathing. It's breathing to the side. So your rib cage is expanding to the side. When we are doing certain exercise, going hiking, running, whatever physical performance, then we can really breathe through the belly. And that's why breathing into the sides of our lungs, it's really helpful to get in more oxygen and more space for the lungs to expand and to get more air in. And yeah, where we need to breathe rapidly, there's no way to put the belly out. So we expand this capacity, which we need in intense sports, or maybe not even intense, but with any activity that demands movement, we breathe to the sides. So you can again put your hands on the sides of your ribcage and try to breathe into your palms, expanding the ribcage to the sides. So this is thoracic breathing. And then we've got clavicular breathing, which is useful in short duration, fast-paced activities because it activates the sympathetic nervous system and it energizes in short term, but it's too shallow. So it's not a sustainable breathing pattern. But when we are under high stress, we're mostly breathing here. So you can put your hands up to make it easier and then breathe just into the upper part of your chest. So clavicular breathing. So again, when you need to be alert and you need this fast-paced action from your body, then it's good to breathe in the upper part of your chest. However, doing this for a long time, as we established, is inefficient and it's going to give you chronic stress the more you do it. So in this matter of all breath work, yogic breath, we breathe deeply into the belly as much as you can. And then when you can't breathe anymore, then you breathe in into the sides of your body, so your thoracic, right? And then when you can't anymore, you breathe to the upper part of your chest. And this was like 3 times when you thought you can't breathe anymore and you still had more and more and more capacity. And that's how you can actually exchange the air, the old air for the new fresh air, getting more oxygen into your body. So the yogic breath is inhaling gradually through your belly, your sides, and your upper part, and exhaling either from the upper part, sides, and your belly, or again, you can start from your belly and rib cage and underneath your collarbones. So I'm just practicing this for 5 minutes a day. That's all you need to train your diaphragm, to increase the capacity of your lungs, and to stimulate your entire nervous system so it knows how to deal with demands of life. This, I'm calling it breathwork. Many colleagues would argue that I'm culturally appropriating yoga. So it's called pranayama. Prana is the life force, and yama is the way, the control of prana. And in the yogic tradition, the doorway to prana, to our life force, is through the breath. For without having access to this energy within your body, you cannot really work with your nervous system. And then when your nervous system is not working, then your life is really non-existent. So to fully access your full potential is to tap into the source of your prana, and that's and you do it through controlling your breath. The first mentions of pranayama were in the ancient yogic texts of Vedas. It's nothing religious, it's pure downloads, pure wisdom that's been given to others before the religion then took it and created their own influences. But it's just science of life. And they mentioned pranayama techniques thousands of years ago. So we believe in yoga that pranayama, so those breathwork practices, it's the entry point to correcting your perception and refining your nervous system, so you can have access to more and more energy and allow your great creative potential, or the energy that we call Kundalini, so the creative force within you, to rise and move through you. So the more you cultivate the breath, the deeper you can go within your own being, and you can gain access to the experience of no mind. And because when you're aware of everything, you're able to, when you train this for long enough, you can transcend the mind. And when you learn how to transcend your mind, then you learn how to gain mastery of your mind, not to believe all the thoughts that you're thinking. And when you catch yourself thinking negative thought, which has negative influence on your feelings, on your emotions, on your physical state, then you can correct your thoughts and you can be the master of your mind, and hence the master of your life, your performance, your health. So through pranayama, you're practicing not only breath work, but you're also fine-tuning your awareness of the subtlest part of your existence. Pranayama is the ancient practice or technology of breath work. So there's different techniques. I'll share with you some of them. And the goal of pranayama is to balance the energy flow in the body and promote relaxation and the state of meditativeness. But then there are different kinds of breathwork practices, such as circular breathing. It's a technique that involves inhaling and exhaling continuously without any pause between inhalation and exhalation. This technique is often used with music, meditation, and in yogic practices to maintain a steady rhythm of breath and prolong the duration of a single breath. Then, for example, even Wim Hof method is circular conscious breathing. So there's no pause between inhalation and exhalation. That's also how your body then interprets it, that when you do 40 inhales, exhales back to back, then your body thinks it's like one big inhalation and exhalation, one cycle, because there's no pause between them. And if you believe that you have only a certain amount of breaths in your life, this is how you can prolong your life according to yoga. Then rebirthing breathwork, which is a type of breathwork that involves deep and rapid breathing through the nose, usually with the mouth closed. And it is based on the belief that the way we breathe at birth can affect our emotional and psychological development. And then by replicating the rapid, deep breathing of a newborn, we can release repressed emotions and memories. Then there's this beautiful practice of holotropic breathwork. So it's again rapid and deep breathing, but this time usually with the mouth open. It's always accompanied by music and guided imagery. There's usually somebody who's sitting and guiding you through this practice. And the goal of holotropic breathwork is to access non-ordinary states of consciousness and to facilitate personal growth and healing. So altered states of consciousness, it's also called psychedelic breathwork, because you can induce through this breathing the same kind of feelings that you can when you take LSD or mushrooms. But since you're doing it through your breath, you're in control of what's happening. You're just being aware of all those connections that you were not aware before. That's why it has deep healing and therapeutic effects, such as psychedelics. But this is controlled. And then we've got trauma release breathwork, which is a type of breathwork that aims to release the physical and emotional effects of trauma stored in the body. So it's a form of therapy that combines deep conscious breathing with body awareness, also movement and emotional release through screaming or just like expressing whatever emotion is there. So it's based on the idea that the physical and emotional effects of trauma are stored in the body, like we discussed. And by releasing it through breath work, we can reduce the symptoms and the symptoms of trauma and improve our overall well-being. So those are just certain kinds, but it always works with just different breathing patterns. And this is something that also the yogis knew for a long time, and they developed the entire technology around it, which is called Kriya. It's basically a collection of diverse practices, and each of the practice has a different effect, such as the pranayama. But Kriya is more, it has more layers to it. So it's not only the breath, but it's working with the electric circuitry of our body by, for example, like if you're aware of meridians, how the energy flows through the body, it always also ends in our fingers, in our different parts of the body. And by doing different positions through movement or through mudras, so the hand positions or eyes or where our tongue is placed, that's how we channel or direct the energy flow in our body. So in Kriya, we work with breath, of course, we work with mudras, we work with the focus, where we focus our attention. So for example, on the third eye, on the tip of the nose, on your heart, on the crown, on the root, on the perineum. So where we focus the energy, that's where the energy flows. That's why Kriya is more layered exercise, because it's not only the way you work with breath, but you work with energy of your body through different means. So the physical are the mantras, mental are the dharana, the focus. Also, we can use certain attitude with which we are going to do the kriya. We can either be focused and sharp, or we can be super meditative, and it's also going to, so the feelings then influence the physiology as well. We've got different so-called bandhas, locks in the body. So by pressing certain like buttons on our body, we can also direct the flow of energy. And of course, the way we sit or whether we are standing, it all influences those practices. And this is something that I'm teaching, and it's so diverse. It's like planting different high frequency seeds with different values into your subconscious or into your physical body. Because through channeling or directing the energy through your body, you're teaching your nervous system to behave in a different way. So this technology works with energy, with our minds, and hence also with our hormones, because by placing the energy or directing the energy in different parts, mostly to hormonal glands, where hormonal glands then release different chemical signals into our body, and our hormonal system then, those are again like the inputs, the emotions that we interpret as certain feelings. So there's countless amount of kriyas that we can put together based on certain intention. There are certain kriyas to increase your attention, your ability to focus, to release anxiety, to release addictions, to to open your heart, to become more vulnerable, in sense of vulnerability being strength, of like, yes, this is why I'm owning my emotions, being in control of emotions, getting more energy, becoming more present, becoming more grounded. There's so many benefits and effects of Kriyas. And by connecting different Kriyas together, we can create different effects, especially if it's practiced long term. Then it's a cumulative practice. You gain more energy, you're training your nervous system and your neurons to fire differently and to literally reprogram and rewire your entire existence through your own physiology. And then by changing your physiology, you're changing yourself as a human being, you're improving your performance as well. You're releasing all the things that are holding you back. You're inputting different aspects that you want, different qualities through those practices. So those who have tried, they were all amazed by its effectiveness. 15, 20, 30 minutes of doing the practice, and you will have a completely different day. And the more consistently you show up, the more effect it will have, because just read any scientific paper on habits, and you know that when we want to change a habit, we need to rewire our neurocircuitry. And you can do it way more efficiently through Kriyas by channeling the energy in a way that you want it for the future version of you. So how to integrate all this information that I just shared? You can, if you're curious about it, first and foremost, really watch that TED Talk, How to Be Brilliant, every single day, because this is going to motivate you to take control of how you're breathing and to learn how to breathe efficiently. Then again, a highly recommended book, Breath by James Nestor. Another book that I recommend is Wim Hof Method, who is a guinea pig for humanity, who's proving that when they even injected him with Ebola, which would induce terrible physical symptoms in him right away, by doing breathing techniques, he was able to stimulate his vagus nerve and his immune response to the point that nothing happened and he had no symptoms at all. So just by working with your breath, you're able to take control of your physical, mental, and emotional health. And when you're healthy, you're also happy. So if you want to just feel blessed and happy and fulfilled and have clarity in life, start with doing simple breath work. How? Set a timer for 5 minutes every single day. You can learn different techniques and do it, do whatever feels right for you at the time. But start with 5 minutes of conscious breathing to train your lungs and your nervous system for breathing efficiently. Every day, you set the timer, you set the time. It's a very small percentage of your day, so everybody has 5 minutes. So do you. And your life will improve dramatically, especially when you start and craving more and feeling like when your life will start improving, your cognition will start improving, then you will crave more of this technology that helped you. You can also seek guidance with people who are certified. This is still a very new field, which is just being tapped into. Yogis knew this for millennia. There's also countless of books of pranayama. Scientific research has not really caught up on the thousands of years of this practice. And also the field of breathwork, despite it becoming mainstream, it's not regulated. So you can just feel what instructor feels right for you. I personally studied in India, in the Mecca of yoga, Rishikesh, with Anand Mehrotra from Sattva Yoga Academy, which is one of the few undiluted Himalayan teachings that comes from Babaji lineage. So it's the same as, what was his name? Now I can't think of it. Yogananda, who brought yoga and the fellowship to the States or to the West from India. So we come from the same lineage, actually, like my education. But you can see somebody who's in your environment, in your proximity, who can guide you through breathwork. It can be either the yogic breathwork, or it can be rebirthing, holotropic, whatever, therapeutic, trauma release, breathwork, whatever calls you. Then research it, find a practitioner, and let yourself be guided. I also work online, so you can definitely reach out to me, and you can learn plenty of kriyas and practices on my Instagram at the Simona. So that's my Instagram handle. And now the practices that I want to teach you. And as usual, I'm running out of time, but I hope you have a bit more. So let's get practical. The first breath, so this is pranayama I'm going to teach you. It's called Ujjayi breath. It's stabilizing for the nervous system. It balances you out. It grounds you in the present moment, but it also increases your energy and builds heat in your system. Despite increasing this heat and this inner fire, it encourages you to feel calm and focused, and it's also stimulating energy of, in yoga we say Vishuddha chakra, but from the physiological perspective, this is where the thyroid gland resides, and it's the governing gland for all other glands. So, for example, even adrenals, which release adrenaline and cortisol, the stress response, they are governed by thyroid. So addressing thyroid health is beneficial for just anybody, especially those who are facing chronic stress. So Ujjayi breath, it's audible breathing. It's like an ocean. So you breathe through your nose, but you constrict your breath, like you're being suffocated, like internally through your breath. So you're making your airways, air passageways in your throat smaller by shrinking it. So this is the Ujjayi breath. Then we've got 3-part breath or a 4-part breath. 3-part is having the equal parts of inhale, breath hold, and exhale. So let's say count to 3 or 4 for the equal parts: inhale, hold, exhale. And then we've got 4-part breath, which is the same, but you hold breath at the end on exhale as well. This is called also box breathing. So it's just like, let's say, count to 4, inhale, hold for 4, exhale, count for 4, hold for 4. So you're drawing a square or a box. So this is box breathing. And then we've got also rectangle breathing, where you have a short inhale, let's say for the count of 3. And then we've got longer exhale for the count of 6. Longer breath hold, and then again short exhale and longer breath hold. This is extremely calming. Or you can inhale, hold, and then exhale super slowly. Full yogic breath we already explained. Extend your belly, your sides, and your throat. Under your collarbones. So, and you do it as slow as possible. In Kundalini Yoga, they suggest that 1 minute is 1 breath. So good luck doing that. But in the most efficient breath is when you breathe around 5.5 times in a minute. So if you're naturally breathing 5.5 times in a minute, it's considered an efficient breath for the oxygenation of your body. So you're good. In the beginning of today's workshop, we did 3, 9, 6 breath. So inhale for the count of 3, hold for the 9 of 6, for the count of 9, and then exhale for the count of 6. This calms and stabilizes your nervous system, and it's activating, so you get more energy. It also grounds you, centers you, and allows you to integrate and absorb whatever information or minerals or whatever you have in your body. So it supports all the processes in your body, and this can be practiced for those who are new to meditation or mindfulness practices. Just count 3, 9, 6. Inhale 3, hold 9, exhale 6. And you can do this for 5 minutes and you've got your meditation done. Alon Vilom is the alternate nostril breathing. So it calms the nervous system and it balances the left and right hemispheres. And it also grounds us and reduces the impact of stress, the internal heat that is built up from the stress. So again, you can put your index and middle finger on your forehead and you block your right nostril with your thumb if you're using right hand, and then you inhale through the left. Let's do the same amount of seconds for all those parts. So let's say you inhale for 3, hold for 3, both nostrils, open the right nostril, exhale for 3, and again inhale through the right for 3, hold, and exhale through the left. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. You alternate between the nostrils. Very effective breathing pattern for balancing the hemispheres and inducing the feelings of calm. And now let's go to Kriyas. So those are pranayamas, and then we've got Kriyas. Now I'm going to be sharing only 2 of them, and they are calming ones, especially for stress management. And if you're always in your mind and you can't seem to switch your mind off, and it's intrusive thoughts, and you don't like that, then you can practice either of those 2 practices. It teaches you dynamic stillness, so being still in your mind while doing things in the outside world, so being more present. And it brightens your energy field, and it's very good for your brain and your nervous system, especially those who suffer from attention deficit disorder, ADD, ADHD. And it balances all the restless energy that you might be feeling, like you're erratic and there's so much stuff happening all around your life. Then like it settles the restless energy, and it's definitely good for the cardiovascular health and corrects the effects of stress. So now I sold this Kriya to you and how to practice it. Your eyes are closed, but you're gazing internally with your eyes closed to the part between your eyebrows, so your third eye behind your forehead. And so your eyes are focused there. And you inhale in 8 parts, creating 1 big inhalation. Then at the top of inhalation, you're going to hold as long as possible. And then you're going to exhale in 8 parts, creating 1 big exhalation, and hold shortly. By those 8 parts, you're going to alternate between nose and mouth, so stimulating the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system by doing this and balancing them out in a way that it induces a sense of calm and emptiness. if you practice this at the minimum of 4 minutes, you will be so calm and so present. So really give this a chance. So you inhale through nose, mouth, nose, mouth, nose, mouth, nose, mouth. 8 sips of air, creating one big inhalation. Hold your breath as long as possible. And again, exhale with small exhales, creating one huge exhalation. No inhalation in between. Nose, mouth, nose, mouth, nose, mouth, nose, mouth. So 8 parts. It looks like this. I will guide you just through one circle. So your eyes are closed, you're sitting straight, your spine is erect. You can sit on a chair or on the floor on a meditation cushion. Close your eyes and focus internally on the space in between your eyebrows. And then start breathing through your nose and mouth in 8 parts, creating one big inhalation. Hold. And after you can't take it anymore, exhale in 8 parts. Hold gently and continue. And you will see that this was one round. More rounds you do, the slower the sips of air will be and the more calm you'll feel. So do this for a minimum of 4 minutes and you'll enter a beautiful, blissful state of no mind. You transcend your mind. And the last breathing, the Kriya, it's Prakasha, which is breath of light. It energizes you, but at the same time, again, calms you, centers you, and it relieves stress, frustration, and anger. And at the same time, it's going to uplift you and induce this feeling of bliss. It's again, like as I mentioned with Kriyas, you focus on different layers or aspects. So this time you're going to be at the end, you're going to inhale in 7 parts through the nose, creating one big inhalation, so 7 parts. And then at the top of inhalation, you're going to focus on your energy field, on the light that surrounds you and that is within you. So you're going to visualize your light getting brighter when you're holding your breath at the top of your inhalation. And then you're going to exhale very slowly with control in one go. So inhale through the nose in 7 parts. Hold your breath. Focus on the third eye, the space between your eyebrows, and also visualize the energy field that surrounds you, becoming brighter. And then exhale slowly through the nose. Hold gently and continue. You do this for a minimum of 3 minutes and you will immediately feel lighter, happier, more joyful. So give it a shot. Just having this knowledge is going to do nothing unless you do it. And when you do it, you'll see its effects. And when you see its effects, you're going to fall in love with the practice. And then you'll integrate this practice into your life, and then your life will improve. So it all starts with having the information, which you already got right now, and then doing it for yourself. So maybe you commit to yourself doing one practice a day, and you can try those different practices every day and see what works for you and what is the best. And yeah, so those were the kriyas that I wanted to teach you. And then there is one breathwork, which is actually promoted by Wim Hof. It's ancient Tibetan practice, again, like from yogic tradition, called Tumo. Is the circular breathing. If you want to get more air inside, you can breathe through your mouth. So this is just for short duration. It's not going to destroy your health at all. It's actually going to improve your health, but you can do this breathing also through the nose. You inhale deeply and with focus, and then exhale, relax, with no pause between inhalation and exhalation. And you do like 30 or 40 rounds, and your body is going to oxygenate greatly. The oxygen is going to get into the smallest capillaries of your body, so you can start feeling cramping, and like your body is going to go into different positions, but it's completely okay. It's safe. You have nothing to fear, nothing to worry about. It's just a way of the body to deal with so much goodies in your system. So you breathe 30 or 40 rounds of deep inhale and relaxed exhale. And then you're going to exhale completely, entirely, and hold your breath for a minute, 2, 3, depending on how trained you are. And after that, you just inhale for 15 seconds to reset your nervous system, and you can continue with round 2 and 3 and 4. So if you do just 2 rounds in the morning, then your day will be completely different. You will be more alert, more focused, more present to whatever there is. But there is a lot of guided Wim Hof breathing practices on YouTube. He has his own app, so I'm not here to teach you those, but it's definitely one of the options and something that I practice myself at least once a week. So this has been it. I see no questions, and hence I guess that this is it. That's the workshop that I wanted to hold. Thank you for coming or seeing the live stream. If you have any questions later on, you can always message me and get in touch with me. I might even have a QR code here to show it to you. You can scan it. Give me a second. So yeah, but you can always find me on Facebook, Simona Majerska, Majerska, or on Instagram at TheSimona, the Simona. And yeah, I'm always here for your questions, whatever they might be. So let me just share the screen with you again. So you can scan the QR code for seeing all the ways you can work with me. I work one-on-one with people. I design personalized Kriya sets for my clients, whether they have anxiety or they're dealing with the breakup, they want to lose weight, they want to quit smoking, they want to become more present, more aware, whatever mental, emotional, physical issue they might be facing. And there's for sure a certain Kriya or Kriya set that will help your body to align its energy flow in a way that also all the aspects of your life get reorganized and you achieve your intention or your goal in your life. Because the more you practice the breathwork or this personalized Kriya set, the more you're working on your nervous system to wire you in the direction of a desired reality for you. So this, or you can go to my YouTube channel. I'm not sure how many of those Kriya sets are public. I need to check with that, but there's definitely one to open the heart, and everybody needs to be more in touch with their heart and get out of the mind and into the feeling, into the body. So doing just this simple Kriya set for 35 minutes is going to be good introduction for you to actually be exposed to powerful kriyas. Don't get scared if there's mantras, because also pronouncing certain sounds is going to induce different energy in your body. So give it a shot and let me know how it went for you, how it felt. So yeah, that would be it from me. And I thank you for coming today.